To be light bearers is no easy task, and I'm certain I don't speak just for myself, that in the times where we find ourselves, it feels hard and you wonder, am I making a difference? Is this in vain? Is my light bright enough? 1,000 questions I think we all ask ourselves frequently. And so I wanted to explore that with you this morning, just in part. We don't have much time, but just to share with you the wisdom of teachers that have gone before us and teachers that are with us now, that we may gain some deeper insight and more strength and solace as we move forward together and to be that light in the world. I read recently that scientifically speaking, they have never worked out why birds sing before the dawn. And something that caught my imagination was one who said that they would like to believe that the bird is actually singing and saying, the night is drawing to an end, and I made it. I made it. I made it. Here comes another day. And the title for this week's sermon was inspired by Amanda Gorman, who we all know and love so well. And she said, and so I excerpted from her words, there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it and brave enough to be it. Thank you, Amanda. One of the questions that I feel we have to ask ourselves in times, not just like this, but in any times, because our light is, our world is never just one thing, and there is the yin and the yang of the human experience. But one of the things to do is, of course, is to ask, why the darkness? Ram Dass says and taught that the shadow, he said, was the greatest teacher of all, for it taught us how to come to the light. And if any of you are familiar, there's a fantastic teacher. He has a beautiful podcast. His name is Rob Bell. And I like how he words it. He says, why blame the dark for being dark? It's far more helpful, he says, to ask why the light isn't as bright as it could be. And I feel that these questions are the very things that we need to spur us on. It's a constant exploration of why the darkness is so dark. And I don't believe it's an easy answer. It's a nuanced, complex answer, but one and a question worth asking. As Brené Brown said, only when we're brave enough, and here's that word again, brave, to explore the darkness, do we find the infinite power of our light. There's a beautiful story, I believe it's a Buddhist one, about the importance of tending the light within and not relying on others. It's a story which was titled The Traveler's Lamp. And there were two people who were walking together through the darkness along a path. And one of them had a light. And they were walking together. The second person thought, you know what, I don't need a light, because his light actually is enough to illuminate the path for both of us. So I'm just going to keep walking alongside him. And of course, inevitably, they get to a place in the path where the path then splits. And this man's companion with the lamp says, I have to turn left now, and I know that you have to turn right, and bids him goodbye. And of course, now suddenly there he is on the path with no lamp and no light to lead him forward. And of course, the moral of the story is that even though we are walking alongside other people, many of them bright, shining luminaries, it's always important that we tend to the light in ourselves, because we never know when we may be the ones who have to illuminate the path for others. As Marianne Williamson said, as we let our light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same, which is profound when you think about it. And as we know, that light must come from the inside. We can't, as the Buddhist teachers teach, ask the darkness to leave. We have to just turn on the light. And there's one thing I wanted to share with you from Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. Beautiful, beautiful quote. And she says, people are like stained glass windows. They sparkle and shine when the sun is out. But when the darkness sets in, their true beauty is revealed. But only if there's enough light from within to shine out. If you remember what I said earlier about the meaning of Diwali, Avali means a long, continuous, unbroken line of lights. And that inspired me, and it reminded me of another story that I heard a few years ago, which I feel captures this sentiment completely. I don't know if it's a true story or not, but it's worth imagining that it might be so. You may even yourself be familiar with it. There is a man driving along a very lonely country road, and he comes to a stop when he sees the car ahead of him has broken down clearly with a flat tire. He gets out and walks over and notices that the woman in the car is an elderly lady, quite frail. And he realizes that her tire actually, the wheel needs fixing, taking off and the new tire put on. And seeing her frailty, says, "Can I help you?" And she says, "Oh, I don't know. I'm trying to get a signal for the AAA to come out and help me, but there is nobody." "Don't worry," he says, I'd be happy to do it. So of course he's using the wrench and fixes the tire for her. And in her gratitude, she says, reaching into her purse, "Please," she says, "can I give you some money for your trouble?" "No," he says, "it's an honor, and especially someone in your place with your limited abilities to help yourself, I'm happy to help you." And off they go on their separate ways. The woman, the rain has set in now, and the woman is tired and hungry and decides to stop off at a diner. And she orders from a waitress, noticing that the waitress is probably about 7 or 8 months pregnant. And when the lady brings over her coffee, she says, "Ma'am, I hope you don't mind me asking, but you seem too overly pregnant to be working. Why are you working? You should be at home looking after yourself." And the lady says, "Well, to be very honest with you, I have to, because my husband has lost his job. We have bills to pay, and we need the extra money." So when the older lady finishes her dinner, she says to herself, "You know, that man helped me unconditionally. So instead of me giving the money to him, I'm going to give the money to her." So as she leaves, she slips into underneath the bill the $100 that she wanted to give him. The waitress goes home that night, and she says excitedly to her husband, "You'll never believe what happened to me today. I think we can finally pay the electricity bill." "Why?" says the guy. She says, "Well, this woman gave me $100. Here it is," she said. "I'm so excited." "And how was your day?" And he said, "Well, I didn't find work, but I was able to help an old lady on a road today fix her tire, so I guess it wasn't all lost. I want to end with an idea from John Lewis, beloved John Lewis, excerpted from his book, Across That Bridge. He basically says that we are to continue to take courage and example from those who've gone before us. He says that we are, of course, the light, and to never let anyone, nobody, dampen, dim, or diminish it. He implores us, or implored us, should I say, to study the path of others to make our way easier and more abundant. And he says this, I have to quote him directly because it's so beautifully put. Lean toward the whispers of your own heart. Discover the universal truth and follow its dictates. Release the need to hate, to harbor division, and the enticement of revenge. Release all bitterness. Hold only love. Hold only peace in your heart, knowing that the battle of good to overcome is already won. And he says that if we follow the truth, and this universal truth that he speaks of, down the road towards peace and the affirmation of love, and we shine like a beacon, he says, and I quote him again, then the poetry of all the great dreamers and philosophers is yours to manifest in our nation, in our world community, and in a community that is finally at peace with itself. And so in closing, to remember that the universal truth is that there is that light within all of us, and that even by sharing it, by being it, one can think that the small is not strong enough. But as we know, light a match in a darkened room, and you see how far that one match can illuminate. Thank you, everybody.
If you like this video, please like us on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and click on the bell to be notified whenever we post a new video. Thank you.